Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, where you can also find us in the Birmingham, Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day on the Media Network of Waterford and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, otherwise known as ONTV. You can also find us on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on the Biff Radio Network, 88.1 WBFH, the Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM. On our website at civiccentertv.com and beginning at 11 o'clock for the Michigan Megacast on My Michigan TV, otherwise known as MyMy, at mymytv.com, where you can also learn about downloading their free MyMyTV apps for your smartphone and smart TV as well. All of that information is on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also learn about all of our programs and find all of our full episodes and individual interviews on demand. Learn about partnering stations and more. civiccentertv.com/megacast. Then head over to our coronavirus page, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics such as masking, as well as vaccinations and booster shots. Also on our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, we feature articles from many journalistic outlets throughout the state of Michigan in order to keep you updated on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines across the Great Lakes state. Our top story today from Bridge, Michigan: more boosters, better guesses, 5 things you should still know about COVID-19. COVID has largely receded from the headlines in the past month, replaced by the horrors in Ukraine, frustration at the gas pump, and a collective gasp over Sunday's Oscars dust-up, which really shouldn't be that much of a thinker. On Monday, the Whitmer administration announced it will pare back the frequency of its public reporting on COVID-19 from 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to once a week beginning next week, Monday. So is COVID-19 over? Not just yet. Here are 5 things you should keep in mind from this article from Bridge, Michigan. We'll abridge this a little bit, no pun intended, and give you just a few of them. The BA2 variant is still a threat. The Omicron subvariant BA2 continues to drive up rates around Europe, and it's becoming prevalent in COVID cases in the state of New York, 42% of cases, according to news reports. It's likely it may fuel COVID transmission here too as well, but officials remain hopeful. In fact, even in New York, officials have said they don't expect the same steep increase in cases that the first Omicron variant brought upon their local area. As of Friday, just 131 Michigan cases had been confirmed as being BA2, according to state data. That's likely an undercount since the state doesn't subject all virus samples to genetic testing. Vaccines continue to appear to protect against the severest outcomes and hospitalizations, and Michigan's deadly Omicron spike in recent months likely conferred some lingering natural immunity, said Dr. Natasha Bogdasarian, Michigan's chief medical executive. As in New York, Michigan cases overall remain relatively low. The state reported just 419 cases for each of the past 3 days, the lowest weekly average since it was 603 per day on July 31st of last year. Still, early data has suggested that the variant is, quote, inherently substantially more transmissible, 30% more transmissible than the Omicron predecessor. And that means Michigan is far from free and clear from what was once dubbed as the, quote, stealth subvariant, end closed quote. Another shot for older adults and perhaps for small kids as well. The Biden administration is expected to make a second booster shot available to Americans 50 years of age and older sometime this week, according to the New York Times. Pfizer and Moderna, drug makers of the 2 mRNA vaccines authorized in the U.S., have asked the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, to authorize the additional doses, noting that the protection from the first booster waned over time. Experts, however, disagree about how much another shot will help, as the state's Dr. Bogdasarian has acknowledged. Quote, neither the virus nor the vaccine have really been around with us for long enough for us to really look at the long-term immunity, she said to Bridge, Michigan on Monday. Meanwhile, the FDA is expected to weigh in on vaccines for younger children this spring. Moderna last week asked the FDA to authorize its vaccine for children 5 years of age and under, while Pfizer paused its request as it awaits more testing data. The longer the wait, though, the tougher it will be to sell parents on vaccinating very young children, especially parents already on the fence about vaccination for their children against COVID-19, said Dr. Matthew Hornick, president of the Michigan chapter of the American Academy for Pediatrics. Antiviral drugs and where to find them also a factor playing into the remaining COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, supply chain kinks with the two COVID antiviral drugs, Paxlovid and Molnupiravir appear to be loosening, according to continually updating federal listing here. 284 Michigan pharmacies carried either or both of the antiviral medications as of Monday. Supplies varied from more than 100 of the 5-day regimen at some sites to fewer than a dozen at others. National chains, including Meijer, Walgreens, and CVS, are listed among the sites, many clustered in southeast Michigan, Lansing, and Grand Rapids, but some rural counties had just one provider. An important caveat in all this, the antiviral drugs, which limit the virus's ability to replicate and worsen symptoms, must be taken within 5 days of the onset of infection in order to be effective. Quote, so by the time that you get tested, the results come back to your doctor and your doctor can prescribe it. It's not the easiest thing to get the medication in time, said Dr. Dennis Cunningham, Director of Infection Control and Prevention at Henry Ford Health. For that reason, some antiviral drugs have been redirected to hospitals like Henry Ford, although they are, quote, primarily for our patients in the ER, said Dr. Cunningham. So, with all that being said, what's ahead, according to this article from Bridge, Michigan? Even as cases dip, Dr. Cunningham from Henry Ford and others say they worry that the warmer months will bring false reassurance and a return to last year when COVID nearly zeroed out in Michigan, only to be reignited in the fall by the Delta variant. The virus can linger, especially in people who are immunocompromised, offering greater potential for the virus to mutate, he said. 2 years into the pandemic and loads of data offer far better clues to the virus's behavior, but no guarantees, he and others have said. That full article from Bridge, Michigan on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. In addition, making headlines today from the Detroit News with all those considerations from the Bridge, Michigan article. And the fact that we are in such a low caseload and low daily average caseload here in the state of Michigan at this time in the pandemic, many are wondering why Michigan State still requires masks in its classes and labs. Here's why from the Detroit Free Press. Local and state COVID-19 guidance prompted Michigan State University to lift its masking rules earlier this month, a school official said, but the university is still requiring students to wear masks in class. While it lifted masking requirements nearly everywhere else on campus, MSU continues to require staff and students to wear masks in classrooms, labs, and shared research spaces as a continued measure focused on making students and staff feel more comfortable. Quote, we believe leaving the masking requirements in place at this time allows for extra peace of mind for students and employees and faculty in classes so that they can focus, for faculty on teaching and for students on learning, said MSU spokesperson Dan Olson. Classroom and academic labs with multiple people inside were the only exceptions to MSU President Stanley Jr.'s announcement on March 3rd, in which he said the campus-wide mask mandate was ending. MSU has also lifted COVID-19 vaccination requirements for people attending most events, but students, staff, and faculty must be vaccinated. The mask mandates were lifted just in time for the last men's basketball game of the regular season against Maryland on March 6th. Conversations continue around COVID-19 processes and preventative measures, but the mask mandate remains in place in academic settings, according to Olson. Olson said classes face continued rules in part because students are required to attend class for their own academic success, and faculty must attend in order to do their jobs. No one is required to attend games or events at campus venues, however. Quote, that's much more of a personal decision, Olson said, continuing on, quote, we thought that was another important factor, in closed quote. Some faculty, like Megan Donahue, a distinguished professor in the Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics, support continued masking requirements for students and staff in educational settings. Quote, as a faculty member, I ask students visiting me to mask up. I think that's good convention to adopt long term, she said in an email, continuing on, saying, quote, let's try to keep these airborne diseases from ripping through our campus, end closed quote. Lifting the remaining mask mandates is something MSU won't rule out, however, Olson said. In addition to masks, students, faculty, and staff have been required to be vaccinated against COVID-19 unless the university granted them a valid exemption. While the school is lifting the mask mandate, Dr. Stanley, the president of the university, said masks remain, quote, strongly recommended, and close quote, for anyone who is not vaccinated against COVID-19 or who is otherwise medically vulnerable. Also making headlines, lastly, on our website today, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus from the Detroit Free Press, a, quote, messy storm is expected to bring ice, snow, and more to most of Michigan overnight. A messy mix of snow and sleet is expected for much of Michigan on Tuesday night, with a winter weather advisory in effect for much of the state through Wednesday morning, according to the National Weather Service. About the only portion of the state not facing an advisory for some portion of the overnight hours and Wednesday morning is extreme southwest Michigan, including Benton Harbor east to Coldwater. Ice and snow is expected. The system is arriving from the Central Plains and moving northeast, according to Sarah Schultz, a meteorologist with the Weather Service in White Lake Township. For southeast Michigan, from 8 p.m. Tuesday, mixed precipitation will change to freezing rain during the evening and overnight, according to the Weather Service. Snow and sleet accumulations of up to 1 inch and ice accumulations around 1/10 of an inch are expected for the counties of Wayne, Oakland, Monroe, Livingston, Washtenaw, and Lenawee. Quote, a burst of snow and sleet moves into the area west of US 23 by 8 p.m. and then spread southwest to northeast across Metro Detroit and the northern suburbs, and closed quote, said the weather advisory. The National Weather Service cautions drivers that slick roads could impact the Wednesday morning commute. This advisory is in effect in southeast counties until 10 a.m. on Wednesday. The storm is expected to impact Midland, Bay, Saginaw, Shiawassee, and Genesee counties after 10 p.m. and from midnight until noon on Wednesday. The advisory will be in effect in Huron, Tuscola, Sanilac, Lapeer, St. Clair, and Macomb counties. It will be a sloppy day in northern Michigan as well from early Wednesday morning until 2 p.m. The following cities in northern lower Michigan will also be impacted. Mansalona, Gaylord, Grayling, Mayo, West Branch, Tawas City, Standish, and Charlevoix. Brief bursts of warmth are also expected. Temperatures in the upper 30s are expected during the day on Tuesday and will drop to below freezing at night in Metro Detroit, Schultz said. But Wednesday will be significantly warmer as southerly winds move through the region. Highs in southeast Michigan are expected to be in the low 60s by Wednesday afternoon of this week. It will be short-lived, however. The end of the week and the weekend are forecast to return to chillier days and cold nights, though mainly dry. All those articles at our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, as well as those helpful links to accurate information on COVID-19 that's up to date each and every day from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at the federal level, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services at the state level, and the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great program ahead on this Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Deborah Sloman and Trista Maltby from Shoppe Too in Keego Harbor, followed by Earth West Bloomfield co-founder Sally Wenzel. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast. We will find information about our entire network of stations all throughout Oakland County and across the state of Michigan. In Keego Harbor, 3 distinct businesses converge into one at Shoppe Too, where customers can auction off their home goods and redecorate in an upscale market with a plethora of pieces for all different design tastes. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Deborah Sloman, owner of Shoppe Too, and Trista Malpe from the Shoppe Too auction house. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate having you both on. So, Deborah, let's start with you. Can you talk about Shoppe Too and what was the inspiration for opening this business?
Yes. So a dear friend of mine, her name is Julie, she called me about 10 years ago and said, "Hey, Deborah, there's this really cool building in Walled Lake available. Do you want to rent it, open up a consignment store?" And I thought, I have no money, no experience. And so 10 years ago, we got a small business loan, and we opened up our first store, and we're specializing in kind of shabby chic furniture and clothing and accessories and whatever. And then we really started going towards the path of mid-century modern, iconic 20th century furniture. And so about 8 years ago, we thought, you know what? That 3,000 square foot store, which is not big enough for us to do what we really wanted to do. And so there was a building in Keego Harbor. It was the old House of Denmark building. It was a very kind of iconic building. I used to love coming here as a child with my parents. It was available. So we went from 3,000 square feet to 17,000 square feet. And we're still adding on. We actually just about a month ago rented another warehouse for about 6,000 square feet. So we're having a lot of fun doing what we do over here. And what we do is we do, you mentioned, Tyler, 3 separate businesses. Mm-hmm. And so what those are is, of course, Shoppe, where we are right now. This is a 17,000 square foot showroom full of iconic 20th century furniture and art and sculptures and lighting. And then the next leg of our business is our estate sale business. And then, of course, we have our auction house, which Trista will talk about towards the middle. And so we do a lot of fun things here. They all kind of feed each other and work well and play nicely together. So it's a wonderful a symbiotic relationship.
And so these products that you have there, Deborah, you mentioned some of them are from estate sales, some of them are from people that will bring their items in. It's a consignment store, so they'll sell some of their items to the store, and then, of course, you will either restore them and sell them or sell them as is to the customers out in the community that will come into your store. But outside of that, what are some other ways that you pick up these different products? Because there's a unique collection of different items that are in your shop in Keiko Harbor.
Yes, thank you. So basically, we've kind of over the years developed a reputation for selling a lot of higher end collectible pieces. So people call us somebody all over the country with really, really unique pieces. But I gotta tell you, Tyler, we are very, very fortunate. We're what we call in the hub of mid-century modern iconic pieces. Back in like the 50s and 60s, the people around this area, I say, West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, Birmingham, those surrounding areas, they really supported Cranbrook. And so they often would, help sponsor some of the artists and designers that came out of there and purchase their pieces. And so we go to people's homes today now, Tyler, they call us and say, I've got a lot of pieces. Either I want an appraisal or I want an estate sale or I want consignment. And we go to their home and we are just blown away by the treasures they have in their home they're not even aware of. I always tell the story of a person. So person calls for an estate sale, right? And we'll go to your home and we'll start doing an appraisal of the pieces you have, your art, your furniture, accessories. And we're at a client's house. The father passed away and we're dealing with the two daughters and we're in the father's library. And we always tell people, don't throw anything away. Do not. What you may think is junk could be an incredible treasure. So to highlight that example, we're in the library and they're kind of cleaning out his desk and throwing papers away and whatever. And they go to his shelf and they see on there what they call the dust collector. It's like this little wire nothing sculpture, they thought. And they go to take it and throw it in the garbage. And Terry, our art appraiser, says, wait a minute. Can I see it up close? And goes, I think this might be very important. I'm gonna take a picture of it, send it to the foundation and find out what it is. Well, P.S., this dust collector turned to be a Harry Bertoia sculpture that we sold for them at auction for $65,000. So don't throw anything away.
Yeah, let the experts tell you if it's worth keeping or not. We're joined by Deborah Sloman, the owner of Shoppe Too in Keiko Harbor, and Trista Maltby from their auction house as well. So Trista, tell us some more about the auction house that you're a part of, how it functions, and when these auctions are held.
Yeah, so our auction house we're absolutely excited about. We have been in the auction business for just about 6 years, I believe. Yes, 6 years. I joined the team about a year and a half ago, and we do quarterly auctions, and we do them all online. So anybody around the world can essentially be a part of our auctions. We have right now for the upcoming auction on April 3rd, this Sunday, we have about 2,600 bidders from all over the United States, Europe, Asia, and we have just under 300 items. So each auction is curated, and that's what I assist with. I help curate the auction and gather the pieces with one of the other co-owners, Terry Stern, who's the owner of Detroit Fine Art Appraisals. And so we once again, gather these items and create a theme. So this theme is modern design meets street art. So talking about what Deborah was saying, the mid-century modern furniture, we have these iconic furniture pieces and modern art pieces as well, which then as you go through the catalog, go through the auction, it gets more contemporary, more street art, more urban art, graffiti art. So there's a little bit of something for everybody at this auction, which I love. We do have some more classical art pieces too, historical items, but our focus mostly is the modern upscale furniture that goes into some of the contemporary art.
So you mentioned that there's something for everybody in these auctions, and so Trista, when you say something for everyone, can you give us a range of what that is? Because we've heard and we know from your business, from talking with Terry previously, and from what Deborah has already said, there's a lot of really higher end products that are there and pieces that are there, but that's not going to necessarily fit into a lot of people's budgets. So what is that range generally when you have an auction through Le Shoppe Too and through these businesses? What is that range that people may be aware of if they're coming in of these different kinds of products that they can pick up?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. So we have some examples here. Like, for example, behind me, this is a mid-century modern sculpture by Detroit artist James Nani. And it's really dynamic. You can move it and change it. And that piece is starting off at $350. Another piece, I just pulled a couple examples here. This is one of the like urban contemporary art pieces I was speaking of. This is by a California artist named Tom Haubrich, and it's tattoo ink on paper. And this piece is starting at $150. So it's an original drawing by a really established California-based artist, and definitely something that I think everyone can attainable for.
We're joined by Trista Maltby and Deborah Slovan from Le Shoppe Too, located in Keego Harbor on the Oakland County Megacast. So when people think of works of art in an auction house, they think of these crazy high-priced items. We talked about some of that range. We talked about some of those items that have been picked up from estate sales that were surprisingly high value. What are some of the higher value items that you've been able to come across over the time that you've been operating this business? Either you, Deborah, in general, or you, Trista, at the auction house, that have been kind of surprises that have come in, that have said, wow, this is actually really, really valuable, and we're excited to get this to auction.
Well, I think you should talk about our world record at the auction.
Yes.
Sure.
So recently, a son and daughter called me. They lived in Pennsylvania. Their mother still lived here, and their father had passed away. He happened to be an architect. He was actually the right-hand man for Eli Saarinen, who actually was the architect for Cranbrook. So they had an amazing collection. Her mom was 94 years old, and they wanted to move her pretty close to them to Pennsylvania. They had to come in and do an appraisal of their pieces. They wanted to bring them to the store for consignment. So going to the house, and we see this lovely, lovely Ray and Charles Ames cabinet. Now, I've seen this cabinet many times. You can buy a brand new version of it, online right now for about $5,000. And I'm looking, going, you know what? It looks a little bit older than what I think it could be. So we brought it to the store, found the other great pieces they had, and did some research. And in doing so, we found out this is a lot older than we thought it was. And so, come to find, it's actually the first edition, when it came out, when they first made it the first year, in the early 1950s. So originally we thought probably between, $9,000 and $12,000 it might sell for at auction. And so that's what we put it on the catalog for. Anyways, we're getting a lot of buzz, a lot of people inquiring about it. Long story short, it ended up setting a world record. The last one to sell at auction went for about $24,000. This actually sold for, with the buyer's premium, $60,000. And the great thing is, two great things came out of that. One is, it was actually purchased for a museum in California. So pieces will be on public display, not hidden in someone's house, so everyone can enjoy this amazing piece of work, piece of art, we call it. But secondly, when the kids told their mother what the piece sold for, her reaction was priceless. She had tears of joy, saying, your father, my husband, would have been so proud. And that's what really, listen, these high numbers are lovely, but to see people's reactions and get those kind of numbers for them really just gives us a great sense of joy.
Absolutely. And that it went into a museum, like Deborah said, just those are the cherry on top of everything.
For
things
sure.
like that.
For sure.
So Trista, you have an auction coming up on Sunday this week, April 3rd, the Modern Design Meets Street Art auction. You mentioned that earlier on, and what are some of the pieces that will be there in that auction. How can people participate? Is it on site? Is it online? A mixture of both?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, leshoppe2.com. That's TOO.com. And as you'll see the tab on the top that says auctions, and then you'll see a link once again to click on our catalog. From there, you can register for our auction and preview our catalog. Like I said, there's just under 300 items to preview, and you can start pre-bidding as of now. So if you see something that you like, you just place your bid. And then you can watch the auction live, which is on Sunday, once again, at noon. And it just goes through piece by piece by piece. Every piece is about, each lot, I should say, is about 30 to 1 minute. So it'll run from noon to about 5 o'clock estimated time. And if you pre-register for the auction, you like an item or a lot, or you pre-bid on it, when that lot comes up, then you will be notified through email or your phone. But another really important way to bid too is you can call us and myself, one of the auction advisors, or Deborah or Terry or Rhonda, any of our team. Just give us a call and we can help you with the bidding process, and you can do a phone bid as well. So a phone bid is a really simple way to participate in our auction. If you're not really computer savvy, a phone bid is something that we help hundreds of our clients with each auction.
Yes. And so, Trista, if somebody would like to auction off some of their items in the future, how can they go about getting connected with Shoppe Too in order to get their items auctioned off?
It's so simple. All you have to do is send us some photos to our email, which is lashopperetail@gmail.com. We'll take a look. Deborah, myself, and Terry will come up with an idea of what we think it would sell for at auction. And if you think that sounds great, then you'll just bring it here, or we can even have someone come and pick it up for you. So it's a really hands-free, hassle-free process. And then, like I said, we do quarterly auctions. So if you missed out on this auction, we've got another one coming up, probably, I would say, the mid to end summer.
If I may add too, Tyler, excuse me. What's nice too is that often at times, if the piece is not, say, it doesn't have really great auction results, some pieces sell much better at retail. So what we'll do is we'll kind of advise you, these are the auction results, these are the retail results, and we're here to kind of help you get the most value out of your valuable items. And so there's also other options I mentioned before. We also come into your home and do a complete estate sale for you. We'll come in and stage your home beautifully. We'll price everything. And what kind of makes us different than all the other estate sale companies out there is that we have the store, which means this. When another company comes in to do an estate sale for you, there's a lot of them out there. They've got 3 days to sell everything, right? And so often those more valuable items could be sold at a really low value on the last day. We have another option. We don't have to sell that piece on the third day. We can put those higher value items, put a nice reserve on them. Someone may come in and pay that price, or if they don't, those items will then come to our store on consignment. They're shown beautifully in our showroom. They're also photographed and put on our 5 online shopping platforms. The nice thing is, because we have all these different shopping platforms, we literally sell and ship all over the world. We're right now packaging up a painting going to Hong Kong. And so when you're on the web, as you know, you've got a whole international audience. So it makes our company a little bit more unique for our clients. And in fact, we can do that for them as well, too.
Deborah, Trista, before we let you go, anything else that would be important or interesting for our audience to know about the Shoppe Too today?
I just think that you should come visit. We're like a little mini museum. Incredible artworks and furniture. And Deborah, if you want to add anything?
Yes, we'd love to see all your new faces and give you a tour of our store. There is something for everyone. As I mentioned, we opened up a store called Remix about 5 doors down, kind of our clearance center. So there's definitely something for everybody here. We love to meet new faces and have them become part of the Shoppe family.
Well, we thank you both for being with us.
Thank you so
Tyler.
much.
Great.
Have a great day.
You as well. There more information on the website, lashoppe2.com. That's LESHOPPETOO.com, lashoppe2.com. If you'd like your items to be potentially either sold at their consignment store or by auction, you can email them at lashopperetail@gmail.com, LESHOPPE retail@gmail.com. Their auction coming up Sunday, April 3rd. Modern design meets street art auction. More information on the website, lashoppe2.com. Items currently listed with ranges between bids of $20 and $38,000, with estimated values ranging from $20 to $76,000. We'll take a break here on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, trees are falling in West Bloomfield and a new mental health facility is rising in their place. One group of environmentalists say the balance between the need for these services and the preservation of these local woodlands and wildlife is simply not there. We'll be joined by Sally Wenzel from the Earth West Bloomfield group coming up on the Michigan Megacast.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Over to West Bloomfield Township, where a group of environmental activists has come together in support of the trees and the wildlife in town, as a major hospital system is planning a large development on ecologically valuable land. The hospital says it's done its part to mitigate environmental factors. The group, Earth, out of West Bloomfield, disagrees. Joining us now is the co-founder of the group, Sally Wenzel, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Sally, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Tyler. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. So let's begin. Give us a little bit of background on how this all started, how the group came together, what this case is that is being discussed within West Bloomfield Township. Of course, it's gone through the Environmental Commission in West Bloomfield that recommended against many of the proposed plans, particularly the clear cutting of certain trees on the property at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, and then also went through the Planning Commission, which made a contradictory decision to that recommendation made by the Environmental Commission. Can you give us some insight into this case, and then where your group tends to disagree with the decisions that were made by the West Bloomfield Township Planning Commission and the plans that have been proposed by Henry Ford Health System?
Correct. You summarized it well. And unfortunately, it has come a long way. It's really, the ball is in Henry Ford's court at this point. But the spark that really ignited the formation of Earth, which is the name of our group, Earth standing for Environmental Activists Rallying Together to Help West Bloomfield. We had to come up with a name pretty quickly because the group grew very quickly. As of last night, we have 49 members. And this is just on Facebook. However, we'd like to meet in person soon, and it's just growing. We're going to do more activities in the future. But yes, the spark was Tony Spikajny's resignation in protest of the Environmental Commission being overruled for the first time in its history. The recommendation of the Environmental Commission for a woodlands ruling was overruled, and he resigned in protest. And we thought, a few of us thought that spoke very loudly that something's wrong, something needs to be done. We started chatting on Facebook, and it's difficult in such an open forum. We decided to narrow down our forum to this group site called Earth, where we all had more common goals and less trolls getting in the conversation. So here we are. We are Earth, and we are promoting sustainability. I wrote a few things down here. And what is sustainability? It's meeting the needs of existing people without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Sustainability is social, economic, and ecological. So it crosses all borders of a community. It should be binding a community together. And my message today is about unity. I'm bringing a peaceful message today about the fact that we do need to unify with common goals in this community. And I think that is the overall message of Earth as well.
Yeah, and so there was an article earlier this week in the Detroit News that highlighted this group's formation and gave some insight and gave some background information into the case that's proposed, the development proposed by Henry Ford Health System for a mental health facility on the campus of Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, where that case has been so far, the group's opposition, and more. And it very much does seem from that context and from hearing from you and just from knowing some of the people that are involved in this, because full disclosure to those that are watching the Michigan Megacast throughout our network, Civic Center TV does broadcast all the Environmental Commission and Planning Commission meetings in West Bloomfield Township, and we do very commonly see a lot of these similar people that made these decisions. We see all these decisions being made. We see all the deliberation, and so that should be known as I'm discussing this with Sally, that we know the people that are involved in this. And so we also see from all that context, from all that information, from your group and from the discussion so far, that there is an antagonism there. There is a disagreement on the execution of this plan. Nobody is necessarily saying that a mental health facility is not something that would be beneficial to West Bloomfield Township, beneficial to the local area. It's the way that that's being executed is proposed to be executed that your group disagrees against. What are those disagreements? Where are those points, particularly with this plan, that are considered extremely detrimental to those involved in your group?
Correct. Yes, we are not opposed to a mental health facility. We are opposed to the way it's being executed and the footprint in which it will take up, the location, the exact location. And from my understanding, speaking with representatives of the Environmental Commission, excuse me, there were other options. And we mentioned that in our letter that we composed as a group and sent to every single board member, or the ones we could find emails for, on Henry Ford Health System's Board of Trustees. And just want to get the wording exact here, that there were other options throughout this process in the timeline. Other options were discussed and other options were shoved aside as far as location. And those were presented to representatives of Henry Ford. And there were a lot of eyes on this project. There were a lot of eyes early on that could have pushed for these other ecologically friendly options rather than wiping out what looks like about 18 acres of mature forest, a mature ecosystem. This is an ecosystem, this forest with trees up to 200 years old, according to Derek Stradalek, the township forester. And where is this? I wanted to quote him from the article in the Detroit News. Derek Stradalek, this is our township forester. Pretty cool. We have a forester that works for the township, a scientist that specializes in this stuff. He said he's rarely encountered trees of this nature and character really anywhere in southeastern Michigan. And that's a pretty strong statement. So that, I don't know if when pen hit paper in the initial design phase, did the architect, did the designer have that woodlands ordinance in hand? Did they know what was about to be violated? This is a long-standing woodlands ordinance. It's been in place for 30 plus years. And it's really, I think, the backbone of this community, both the woodlands and the wetlands ordinances. This is why people move here, for environment, for nature. I'm digressing a bit now. I hope I answered your question, but yes, there were other options. And we would like, at this point, since the ball is in Henry Ford's court, we would like them to open their hearts. Jane Goodall says you have to reach people's hearts. You know, all the technical, all the jargon, but you really have to get right here to get people to change their minds, to look at the long-term impact and long-term effects of what's going on here. This is not just a forest, this is a global forest. we share all of these resources. You know, nature really doesn't have boundaries. We own things, but we really don't, because we're all impacted. Just like that ad you had on a minute ago, we all share the same water. It's all, watersheds have no boundaries. Everything we do impacts our neighbor. Everything I do impacts the person next to me. So we're looking for Henry Ford to step up and really look at the impact on this community and be a good community player here, a team player.
We're joined by Sally Wenzel, co-founder of the activist group Earth West Bloomfield, joining us on the Michigan Megacast, talking about a development that's been proposed and approved in West Bloomfield Township to construct a mental health facility on the campus of Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital. I want to give you, the viewers and the listeners, an opportunity for some context that you can soak in yourself from these cases. All of the minutes from these meetings, the agendas from these meetings, are available on wbtownship.org. Our flagship station, Civic Center TV, broadcasts all these meetings. You can watch each of these meetings, their full deliberation in the public record, on demand on our website at civiccentertv.com. If you navigate over to our on-demand page and to meetings, the exact website, civiccentertv.com/category/meetings. And for context, the special meeting in which the Environmental Commission gave its opinions on this case, November 10th, 2021. The Planning Commission, November 23rd, 2021, and then a reconsideration on January 25th, 2022. Again, those minutes and agendas from those meetings available on wbtownship.org, the West Bloomfield Township website. Meeting video on demand available to the public on civiccentertv.com/categories/meetings. We're joined by Sally Wenzel from Earth West Bloomfield, joining us on the Megacast, an activist group that is opposing the wetland and woodland impacts that this proposed project may have on the local environment. And so, what ultimately is the goal of your organization in this effort to not curb this project, but to modify this project, to reconsider the execution of this project? Should communication, should a dialogue be conducted between your group, Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, Henry Ford Health System, and West Bloomfield Township? Where does this group want that to go?
All right. Yes, it's time. It's going to take time. We're asking for a redraw. Look at your plans and look at the options that were set forth, the recommendation by the Environmental Commission, which was overlooked, to move the footprint of the proposed project. We're looking for you're going to have to reapply for your permits. We know it takes time. I've been there. I've done projects where you submit your plans. It's reviewed by the township engineer. It takes time. It comes back. Then you have to, fix this and submit a permit to Eagle. And then you have to, there's so much that goes on in a project. It takes a lot of time. And I think time is of the essence here for Henry Ford. They want to get this going. Of course, they've done a lot of work. It takes time. People have been paid to do this work. I understand. However, look at 200 years, okay? 200 years, these trees, this forest has been growing, and we're looking at a few more months of work here. I mean, if you're looking at the big picture, this effort, this redraw, this resubmission that we're looking for Henry Ford to execute is not that much time in the grand scheme of the big impact that this facility is going to have on that forest.
So based on the evidence that your group has collected itself, based on the testimony of those involved in the discussion of this project from West Bloomfield Township, that being the environmental consultant, Derek Stradilek, the environmental manager, John Royer, and then from the Planning Commission, it would have been either Gordon Bodell, the building director, and the zoning and planning manager for West Bloomfield Township, or Caitlin Hines, who also works in the zoning department, that often are discussing and providing information, just the base information, and answering basic questions of the board. And then, of course, these commissions. Based on all of that information, what is the belief of this group, of your group of Earth West Bloomfield, of just how severe the impact on the environment could be in the plans that are currently proposed and have currently been approved by the Planning Commission in West Bloomfield?
Okay, well, look at Google Earth. Look at a sky shot of West Bloomfield Township. There really isn't much forest left. We think we have a lot because when you are coming from downtown Detroit and spending an afternoon in the city and it's concrete everywhere, and you come out here, you think, wow, there's so many trees, but there really aren't. We have the West Bloomfield Woods Nature Preserve, the preserve behind the Township Hall, all the hiking trails back there. We have some other forested areas, but we really don't have a lot left. And the fact that we're slowly chipping away at this very valuable piece of ecosystem, this valuable woodlands, is frightening to me. I think it's a slippery slope. Yes, there were a lot of people involved in passing this through, and I think there might have been some pressure on the township because what Henry Ford is doing is technically not illegal. Right. It's not illegal. This is a matter of character, being a good neighbor, and integrity. And this is a matter of addressing the fact that our environmental ordinance, the integrity of our environmental ordinance was undermined. And it's been long-standing for 30 years. And I think our group is looking to bring that integrity back by looking at this project again, redrawing it so that the footprint doesn't wipe out 18 acres of mature forest.
We're joined by Sally Wenzel. Oh, please.
Save the trees. Save the trees.
We're joined by Sally Wenzel, co-founder of Earth West Bloomfield, an environmental activism group that has formed in West Bloomfield Township in reaction to the proposed plans for a mental health facility to be constructed on the campus of Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, located just on Maple Road off of Drake Road in West Bloomfield Township in Oakland County. Joining us on the Megacast again, all the information on this case from public meetings through West Bloomfield Township are available on wbtownship.org with archived video of these meetings at civiccentertv.com/categories/meetings, or just click on our on-demand link at civiccentertv.com, where you can view all of these meetings, and those meetings again that you'll want to be viewing: November 10th, 2021 special meeting of the Environmental Commission, November 23rd meeting of the West Bloomfield Township Planning Commission, and the January 25th, 2022 meeting of the West Bloomfield Township Planning Commission, where this case was discussed and approved.
Tyler?
Yes.
I have a book I'd like to share.
Okay.
I don't know how much time we have left.
You have a few minutes.
Sorry. Okay, so I got this for Christmas from my husband, and I want everyone to read it. So, Leadership for Sustainability. And this is something that crosses all the lines. And I just want to read real quick to you about just a little excerpt from here.
Okay.
That's all right. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Wicked situations exceed the capacities of any one organization and even any one sector. Solutions require stakeholders to collaborate despite vast differences in their values, assumptions, personalities, disciplines, professions, generations, cultures, and sectors. Most stakeholders are trapped in silos of similarity that are self-reinforcing and protectionist, accentuating differences that hinder efforts to collaborate across those silos. So I just really want to reinforce the fact that we need collaboration now desperately as a human species. We can't be separated. I want to go so far as to say we need regional ordinances. It can't be township and city by city. We need regional agreements because we are all sharing these resources. So I just really want to push. We have to come together. And another one, I visited the Redwoods in August, this past August, and they wouldn't be there if not for crazy wacko environmentalist activists like us. That is what saved the Redwoods. I picked up so much literature when I was out there, and those Redwoods would be gone had people not taken action and saved them. I know Henry Ford owns the property. It's their property, but have a heart. listen to the people. There is time. There is time to change this.
Sally, 30 seconds with you before we'll say goodbye. Has your group reached out to Henry Ford Health System to discuss this? And if so, has there been any response as of yet from Henry Ford?
We reached out. We've written a very formal letter. On our group, we have a climate change expert. She gives presentations to large corporations. We have a couple of lawyers. We've got Amy Mindell, who has saved the forest over, you need to interview her next. She saved the forest over at Orchard Lake Middle School by herself before she joined us. And together, that core group of us composed a letter, and we sent it to every single member of Henry Ford's Board of Trustees, as well as their sustainability chief. They actually have a chief of sustainability over there who I hope is tuning into this. His name is Chip Ammo, and he is the HS Director of Systems Sustainability. So we have reached out directly to him, and all of the influencers over at Henry Ford. I don't know that we've heard directly back from any of them, but I think that their ears are ringing. So let's hope that we get some responses, and thank you for hearing our voice.
Appreciate it. Sally, if people want, very quickly, if people want to get involved with Earth West Bloomfield, how can they get involved?
Sure. Right now, we are maintaining our group on Facebook alone because it grew so fast, and it's a really great platform to discuss and share information. So you can go to Earth, capital EARTH, West Bloomfield. And we've been posting things on the Citizens Facebook page, and so far we're just online, but we're hoping to have some in-person meetings in the future, and maybe even have a letterhead one day. So, and a logo. That would be nice.
Sally, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tyler.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary. And if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, How your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Back to the Michigan Megacast on your radio homes for the program 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information from our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Keeping active in your middle and elder years is a critical part of maintaining your overall health, and one Detroit organization is working hard to help those over 55 feel their best and live a long, healthy life. Satrice Coleman Betts, Executive Director of the St. Patrick's Center, joins us now on the Michigan Megacast. Satrice, thank you for being with us.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate having you on. So for those that aren't familiar with the St. Patrick's Center's work, can you tell us about the organization and what you do to help seniors in Detroit?
Okay, well, St. Patrick's Senior Center, we've been here since 1973, and our goal is to assist seniors in staying active and independent. So we serve seniors from all over the area, not just from Detroit, but for also from neighboring communities. We have all kinds of health and wellness activities, meals, transportation to medical appointments. And right now we're starting to focus a lot on using technology to assist seniors in maintaining their independence.
And so do people understand how big of an issue food insecurity is for our senior populations? Obviously, we think about medical issues and of course the financial issues that often can come along with chronic medical issues as you age. But food insecurity in major cities like Detroit and major metropolitan areas like Detroit is fairly common, unfortunately, here in the United States. How big of an issue is it for Michigan's seniors, and what does the St. Patrick's Center do to help combat that?
It's a great issue for older adults. I mean, actually, no one wants to eat alone. So what we try to do is to have a group setting where seniors can share food, fun, and friendship. Right now, we've had some transition due to the COVID pandemic where we're providing curbside meals, but we provide over 700 meals a week right now. We also have been providing groceries for older adults through some meal programs that we have and grants we have with the Detroit Area Agency on Aging and the City of Detroit. Helping seniors meet their basic needs is definitely a priority for our organization, and there's a need for seniors everywhere.
So I understand that the St. Patrick's Center was founded in 1973. Yes. What was the story behind the founding of this organization? And then when did you first become involved with the center?
Okay, the center was founded in 1973 by Racine Dominican nun, Sister Mary Watson, and there were over 10,000 seniors in this area, and they were home, alone in apartment, shut in and not socializing. So she developed this meal program and started out with 7 people, and it's grown to we have over 4,000 older adults who participate in our programs today. I actually started here in 1999, so I've been at the center for over 23 years. So definitely I'm committed to assisting seniors in maintaining their active life.
We're joined by Satrice Coleman Betts, Executive Director of the St. Patrick's Senior Center, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Can you talk about how you had to pivot to provide meals and other services to seniors in Detroit and in the metro area and the local area through the pandemic. For so many different organizations, their regular operations, especially those that are providing critical services like this to different populations, was severely impacted, but yet was still able to persist.
Well, it definitely was a challenge. For us, it started on March 13th. We decided to figure out what we were going to do. So we stopped our optional, I would hate to say optional, but some of our optional activities and focused on basic needs, which for us was food, transportation to medical appointments, and doing wellness checks, and changing to virtual activities. So we went from large congregate meal settings to serving curbside meals. So when everything shut down, we never did shut down. We continued and has operated this entire time during the pandemic of providing services on site for older adults, like I said, and delivering meals and delivering groceries.
So in terms of community support, whether it be volunteerism, donations, assistance in facilitating these programs, just how important to the St. Patrick's Senior Center is it to have widespread community support in order to provide these necessary and in many cases critical services to these seniors in our local area?
Well, we always say it takes a village, and that's definitely true. The staff do what we can do to support older adults, but we do have a very strong volunteer base that helps us anywhere from special events to cooking meals, making donations, checking on seniors, doing some minor home repair. So we work as a family to take care of older adults because in the end, family is the most important. That's what we are.
We're joined by Satrice Coleman Betts, the Executive Director of the St. Patrick's Senior Center, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information at stpatrickcenter.org. That's stpatscenter.org, stpatsctr.org, srctr.org for more information and to get involved with the St. Patrick's Senior Center. So in 2020, the Elatorian Business and Professional Women's Club honored you with their first Harriet Tubman Service Award. Can you talk to us about receiving the award from that organization, what that honor means to you and to everyone else that works alongside of you over there at the St. Patrick's Senior Center?
Well, that definitely was an honor to receive that award from the Elatorians. I definitely am committed to serving older adults. I've been fortunate to also receive some awards from the Detroit Area Agency on Aging and a Claude Pepper Award from the Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I'm definitely happy that I can bring as much to older adults as they brought to me doing my service here at St. Patrick's Senior Center.
What was great about this year's St. Patrick's Day holiday was that so many of these great traditional events in Detroit were able to come back, and it had benefits for organizations in the community as well, including the St. Patrick's Senior Center, who received many different fundraisers during the March 13th Corktown races. Can you talk about how those fundraisers help to support programs at your center and how important having that sort of a fundraiser be able to happen on a day like St. Patrick's Day when there are so many people that are coming down to Detroit, to Corktown to celebrate the festivities means to an organization like yours?
Well, it means a great deal. I can say that the Irish community had definitely been very supportive of St. Patrick's Senior Center, and they were instrumental in the foundation and continue to support our organization today. The United Irish Societies, Fraternal Order of United Irishmen, have worked just as hard as the staff has to continue to provide programs. Ourselves, we're having an Irish festival on May 1st to continue the relationship in the community. And it's just a great partnership because, again, we cannot do it alone.
We're joined by Satrice Coleman Betts, the Executive Director of the St. Patrick's Senior Center on the Michigan Megacast. More information on the organization, stpatsctr.org, stpatscenter.org for more information, or search St. Patrick's Senior Center Detroit for more information. So we talked a little bit about volunteerism and community support and the way that helps run this organization and all the services that it provides to seniors in the Detroit area. For those who are interested in volunteering with the St. Patrick's Center, how can they get involved, and what are some of the different volunteer opportunities that are out there for those in Detroit and in surrounding areas that would like to help your organization?
Well, we have lots of volunteer opportunities. The most popular is our meal program, where different meal groups are starting to sign up again on the weekends to help provide meals. Just as we did pre-pandemic, we serve meals during the week. We can do wellness checks for older adults, help with special events. You can help provide some activities. We're starting in person again. We're also doing a lot of virtual programs. So you can teach a class. You can teach a yoga class or art class. Deliver some groceries to a senior. There's just a lot of activities that you can participate in. We're a very comprehensive health and wellness center to help to provide a wide range of activities.
Satrice Coleman Betts, the executive director of the St. Patrick's Senior Center, joins us on the Michigan Megacast across the state of Michigan on a number of different outlets. Learn more information about everywhere that we broadcast live and live to tape on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Satrice, a couple more minutes before we'll say goodbye today. Before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to speak about any upcoming fundraisers or special events and opportunities that may be coming up that could help your organization if we have, like we've talked about so much during this discussion, that community support.
Well, some upcoming fundraisers, again, as our Irish Festival will take place on Sunday, May 1st from 1 to 8. Later in the fall, we'll have a special event called Strides for Seniors, and it's to connect older adults and their caregiving with aging resources. That will take place in August or September. Some current program initiatives we again trying to connect seniors and help them cross that digital divide. So looking for individuals to help teach computer classes, to help seniors one-on-one, even help them learn how to use Zoom or change their background so they feel comfortable with being presented on their computer, and sign people up for the Affordable Connectivity Program so they can afford the internet to help them stay independent.
More information on the website, stpatsrctr.org. St. Pat Senior Center, it's all abbreviated, stpatseniorcenter.org, stpatsrctr.org. Satrice, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Well, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk all things automotive with Carla Balo from the Center for Automotive Research. This is the Michigan Megacast.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes, they stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the total number of people employed by motor vehicle and parts manufacturers declined by 3,500 people in January. In February, the decrease was even larger with a decline of 18,000 jobs. Both figures are on a seasonally adjusted basis as well. Joining us now to talk about the automotive job market and the state of automotive companies given the circumstances of the job market is the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research, Carla Balo. Carla, thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Appreciate having you on. So let's begin with, like a lot of industries, employee shortages are hitting car manufacturers, but also parts manufacturers. We already know that's having a major impact on car sales, particularly for production of new vehicles and sales of new vehicles. But it's also having a pretty general impact on the automotive industry altogether, as people are leaving the industry and those jobs that are now available because of that exodus are not being filled. So give us some insight into the many different ways that this job market as it currently stands is affecting our automotive industry.
Yeah, I think, we have to be clear of all the reasons why we're having, some of the shortfalls in production. I mean, the biggest reason is supply chain. And when I say that, that includes not only semiconductors, but other needed components. We often say here at the Center for Automotive Research, you can't just build cars if you're missing just 10 parts, right? Every part has a very significant role, although we've recently heard, some auto manufacturers are actually shipping some of the products without semiconductors and either giving a reduced price or they'll retrofit it later. There's a number of ways to deal with it, but it's a supply chain issue. That also, in a lot of cases, is being caused by manpower shortages somewhere in the supply. As we look at what's happening with current workforce, one of the other reasons that we're seeing certain areas of the workforce go down is because people can now work anywhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't employed in the industry. It just means they're working remotely or they're working under different conditions. Within the manufacturing plants, though, this is where we're currently struggling. We're seeing three areas where we're losing workforce today. One is just in the assembly line worker themselves, being able to manage everything in their lives, working, having children at home, daycare shortages, a plethora of reasons why folks are finding it difficult to manage in today's world of manufacturing. The second is the skilled workforce, skilled trades workforce. That is one of the most aged workforces that we have, and people are retiring. We know the Great Resignation. They're retiring, and we don't have backfill to come in. And just the third issue is this constant churn as we struggle for people to stay for any length of time in any company. We have just, wage inflation and signing bonuses as we've never seen before to get people into the workforce and to retain them into the workforce. People are jumping easily from one position to another for a higher wage.
We're joined by Carla Balo. She is the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. And we've been hearing some stories, too, about those that are taking these jobs. These are well-paying jobs in many scenarios. They're jobs that are open where these companies are very much willing to hire people, very much willing to train people on the job while they complete the job at their current skill level. And then people are taking these jobs, they're coming to work, and they're leaving by their lunch shift, sometimes on their first day. You worked on the lines while you were in college. Can you tell us about the strenuous nature of that blue-collar work, and also why in these circumstances that sudden exodus is something that's becoming more of a commonality, given that often in previous job markets, you would not want to be leaving a job unless you had something else pretty well secure.
Yeah, and that's just, the battle for talent now leaves that door open. So if you start something, you don't like it, it's tougher than you thought, you just go next door and go to a different kind of job. Going back to when I worked on the assembly line, and of course jobs have changed since I worked there I guess it's been about 40 years ago now. When I was on the line, I did not anticipate what I walked into. I ended up getting a job on the medium-duty truck line. I was filling rear axles with oil. I was bleeding brakes. I was over grates. It was slippery. After 2 days on the job, my calves were so sore I could barely walk, and I was 18 years old and in fairly good shape, I thought. it was much more difficult than I had ever envisioned an assembly line job to be. And I didn't even have some of the more strenuous ones. Now, of course, rules have changed and things have gotten better, but nonetheless, a warehouse job, assembly line job, it's not easy. It's repetitive work. It can be strenuous on certain parts of your body. And I know what a lot of companies are doing today to avoid this situation is they're really trying to make people understand all the elements of the job before they hire them, because to go through that interview process, to onboard somebody, and then, you know, to actually start them in a training process, to have them leave quickly, it just doesn't make sense. So the more you can let people know what the job's going to be, or maybe even let them trial it, we're going to start seeing a lot of really interesting ways to try to retain people.
So as these jobs are attempting to be filled, and there seems to be some struggles in onboarding people and then keeping them there for some period of longevity when they do take these jobs, given all those circumstances, what is the answer that, or the current answer at least, for these automotive companies, for these automotive parts companies that are dealing with this crisis on top of supply chain issues and so on down the line, all of which are affecting their ability to output their materials and ultimately continue to run their business efficiently?
Yeah, I'm hearing all different kinds of things, from retention bonuses, from signing bonuses that have some legs, you know, meaning that you know, you get this bonus, you retain it, or it gets paid over time the longer you stay here. The other is, you know, really changing the way that they're hiring, to have, you know, the conversations up front about what the job entails, make sure that that's very well understood. Continually checking to see, is the shop down the street going to give somebody 50 cents, $1 more? Is there something that I can do unrelated to salary? Because fundamentally, people want to care about the company that they're working for. They want to care about the product that's being made there. They want to realize their company has a social aspect, and they want to feel proud to work for that company. This is happening more than ever before across several elements of the company, not just, you know, the assembly line workers, but all the way up to through the skilled trades, through the salary jobs. People want to feel good about the company that they're working for. So are you saying the right things socially as a company as well? Are you demonstrating that in your hiring processes? Are you being diverse? Are you being inclusive? And then the other thing that the companies are starting to consider is, maybe I need more flexibility. Maybe in a manufacturing, everyone says in a manufacturing plant, we cannot be flexible. We have to start at 6 a.m. We have to end at 2 p.m. We have to have 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And yes, that's what's required, but maybe we need to think differently and start doing more job sharing, or start thinking about how people can still manage their lives and still have a livelihood, because this is what people are seeking today. So different ways of managing shifts, of helping people cope with their lives. These kinds of things need to be thought about. It's not just, this is your hiring bonus, this is your retention bonus. You know, people are thinking differently, especially coming out of this pandemic.
We're joined by Carla Balow, the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research on the Oakland County Megacast. More information from the Center for Automotive Research on their website, cargroup.org. That is cargroup.org for more information from the Center for Automotive Research. And so, Carla, the chip shortage you mentioned earlier is affecting output of materials, particularly altogether these vehicles, as well as the staffing issues that are also having a major impact on the output of these vehicles. Eventually, the markets will readjust themselves. The supply chain will get back to somewhat of normality, or figure out a way to adjust itself in a way that works across industries, including automotive. When that does happen, do you believe at that point that companies will be able to, given the staffing issues and other issues that are also there, to then output cars again at a level to which they're able to sell more new vehicles, and the used car market is less fragmented, and all the other effects that this current market is having on the automotive industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's several elements at play when you say, will they get back to normal? Sure. You know, I think nobody knows what normal is anymore, but if indeed we're able to get the semiconductors that we need, and we know a lot of plants are being built, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Combine that with the fact that everything we purchase today has a chip in it in some way. You know, even Build-A-Bear, I don't know if you know, they had to get rid of their hugging feature because they couldn't get chips. I was shocked to hear that, but it's impacting every part of our lives. The other thing that you're going to see is in the U.S. anyway, our population is actually declining. As we know, we're zero growth population. In this kind of situation, you're going to see a lot more automation as well. So as the automakers shift to electrification and they start to build these new manufacturing plants, we are going to see significantly more automation, more robotics, because, you know, this workforce issue is so, you know, fragile that, you know, you really need to think about investing more in smart automation, smart manufacturing. So we'll start seeing that. We'll start seeing it make its way down all the way through the tiers. That will help. In the meantime, it is going to be a struggle for talent, a war for talent, and companies need to be thinking about things quite a bit differently versus the way we have in the past.
And how much of an impact, too, does this situation they're currently in with the supply chain, certainly with the chip shortage, on the electric vehicle market? Because that's becoming all the rage. It's something that governments in the U.S. and around the world certainly are very much emphatic about being the new norm going forward in the automotive industry. And given that electric vehicles are electric and they have so many different advanced technological components to them, I would imagine that the chip shortage is having a significant impact on that subsector of the automotive industry.
Yeah, the chips are strongly needed for electrification, also needed for the advanced driver avoidance systems, for connectivity, for all the different kinds of different levels of automation that you're seeing. I mean, the complexity of chips has increased from a very, let's call it, legacy vehicle from around, let's say, 800 to 1,000, and we've got up to 3,000 now in some vehicles. So it's almost tripled. So when you look at that, there's a huge impact for semiconductors, but let's not forget about the other things that are vital for batteries. You've got lithium, you've got cobalt, and these sources are fragile too, where we're getting those, and more importantly, where we're refining those materials. So we need to fix all of those other supply chain issues as well, and make sure that we're looking at every aspect of the supply, all the way down to raw materials. You've seen lately a lot of automakers are starting to partner with some of these mining companies. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented, but you'll see more of it as we seek to secure supply chains.
We're joined by Carla Balow, the president and CEO of the Center for Automotive Research, joining us on the Megacast. More information on their website, cargroup.org. That is cargroup.org for more information. And given the circumstances, but also given the push, as I mentioned, from governments across the world to make electric vehicles the standard for environmental purposes, for efficiency purposes, and so on going forward. And at this moment in time, given the circumstances that we're in and knowing where the industry is at in development of mass-produced electric vehicles, Carla, where do you see in 10 years the industry being? Do you still see that at this point, are you still forecasting, is your organization still forecasting that gas-powered vehicles will continue to be the standard, albeit with greater energy efficiency to them, or that electric vehicles will, over the next decade, be something that does become more of the commonality in the industry and something that automotive really shifts to as their primary mode of production?
Yeah, my answer is yes and yes. But clearly, everybody is investing a lot of money into electrification. There are several countries that are already putting in many protocols about only EVs by a certain period of time. Most of the manufacturers are planning to have a fully electrified fleet, and electrified means everything from battery electric to hybrid vehicles by 2025 to 2030. So there are clear initiatives in place. So in 10 years, you're going to be able to buy some form of an electrified vehicle across the board for whatever kind of product you want. That is very clear and happening. Now, the rapidity at which that happens really depends on the customer. And the customer needs to be assured that they're going to have the range they need, they're going to have the infrastructure that they need, and that they can purchase this vehicle at the same price or on par with an internal combustion engine. We expect the cost issue to be remedied by about 2025, and that's predicated just on efficiencies improving, supply chains improving, and also potentially the advent of solid-state batteries, which will help tremendously in terms of efficiency and cost. So that is predicated on that. The other issues, the incentives for purchase, the ability to be able to charge it and feel comfortable about that, that's all dependent on how those networks are built out, what kinds of policy measures are put in place, and also just think about the affordability issue today. When you've got the average price for a new vehicle at $45,000, most average Americans can't afford to buy a car today. So we need to be thinking about then what are the other ways to promote electrification throughout. And you have to start looking at the commercial side of the business, the delivery side of the business, logistics companies, and also vehicle usership kinds of services, ride-sharing services that allow people to only use a vehicle when they need a vehicle. And that's an entire kind of ecosystem of mobility that has to be addressed.
Carla, thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, any other research at this time or any other projects at this time being undergone at the Center for Automotive Research that our audience may be interested in knowing about?
Well, I think, I'd love to come back and talk to you again. We're doing some tremendous research on sustainability, reducing carbon footprint, reuse of materials. When you just asked me about batteries, we're going to have a bunch of batteries that we need to recycle and reuse. And if we do that, then, that helps with the supply chain issues. So we're doing a lot of work in sustainability as companies are really working to improve that carbon footprint. A lot of work on Industry X, automation, additive manufacturing, and of course, lightweighting. When we move into battery electric vehicles, that increases the mass significantly. We need to find ways to bring the weight of the total product back down. So a lot of interesting work on composites and mixed material joining and huge dies. So there's always something happening at the Center for Automotive Research, so we'll be happy to share later.
Carla, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help. When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is the Vice President of Marketing and Development of one of nearly 300 nonprofits and charities supported and listed on Share Detroit's platform. Kerrie Mitchell joins us now on the Michigan Megacast. Kerrie, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So you are joining us from Matrix Human Services, which is one of just over 290 charities and nonprofits supported by Share Detroit. Can you tell us a little bit about Matrix Human Services and the services that you provide here in Michigan?
Yeah, so Matrix Human Services has been around for over 100 years, 1906 to be exact. And what we do is we work to move people from poverty and into self-sufficiency. And the great thing about Matrix is that we help all ages. So our largest program is early education, which is Head Start. for 0 to 5-year-olds that also works with their families. We also have a robust youth development program that's for ages 7 to 17. And then we have a wealth of adult programming that works to create financial education for adults, workforce development to put people in jobs, and also to have a high school diploma as well for those that did not receive a high school diploma. And also we have a robust seniors program. And lastly, we work to ensure that we stop the spread of HIV and help those living with HIV. So collectively, we serve 20,000 individuals on a yearly basis through our programming.
We're joined by Kerrie Mitchell, the Vice President of Marketing and Development at Matrix Human Services, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on the website, matrixhumanservices.org. And so you mentioned some of the different services that you do provide, and you touched on kind of a wide range of people that are served by Matrix Human Services. What are some of the communities, or where's the area of operations that you do serve and help these people that may be in need of these services?
Yeah, so in addition to serving all ages, we are actually highly diverse. So most of our programming is on the east side of Detroit and southwest Detroit, and also some pockets on the west side. We pretty much program out of 35 locations throughout the city. With our Head Start program, we teach in not only English, but Arabic and Spanish as well.
We're joined by Kerrie Mitchell, Vice President of Marketing and Development at Matrix Human Services, with us on the Michigan Megacast. And what are some of the key programs and initiatives that help to provide these critical services in the community to a variety of different people?
Yeah, I think our most critical is our most largest program, which is early education. We believe that while we educate the child in the classroom, we're making sure that they have social, emotional, and those kind of skill sets to make sure that they're prepared for kindergarten. We also are working with the parents. And what we do is we have a family advocate that is assigned to each family that is within our Head Start program. Then we work with the entire family of that child to ensure that while we are meeting the needs in the classroom, we also are meeting the needs with the parents as well, because we believe in multi-generational support. It's really hard to pull someone out of poverty unless you kind of collectively work with that entire family. So they work with goal setting. It could be something as small as I want to save up to get a car, or I want to go back to college, or I need a job. We provide all of those things that allow them to reach that next step that they'll need to be successful. Another thing that we have within our adults program is our workforce development program. We just actually received a grant from the city of Detroit, which helps our Skills for Life program, which allows people to make $15 an hour while they're trained and they work, and they get paid for 5 days. That is what we believe is really going to help uproot people out of that poverty stand and getting to a life of self-sufficiency. Once they start making a livable wage, they go right into our financial education program that allows them to understand the value of budgeting. We pull their FICO scores, we set goals, we set measurements and metrics for them, and then we hope that they can join our home buying program as well, which encourages people to be first-time homeowners in the city of Detroit.
So how much did the pandemic play into the need for these services? Has your organization had to change the significant amount of work that you're doing, the significance of the amount of work that you're doing to help provide these services in the community as a result of the pandemic and the way that it's changed so many people's lives, particularly on the financial front and on the labor front? How has overall the last couple of years impacted Matrix Human Services and the services it provides in the area?
You know, the thing about Matrix is that we kind of work with being proactive as possible and how to really turn what could be potentially damaging to us as a success. And so I'm so proud to mention that not only did we have success with making sure that each of our clients still had a connection with a staff person at Matrix. Matrix has over 500 employees. And when I say 500 employees, 400 of those employees work with the clients on an everyday basis. And so we didn't close down anything. We may have closed our buildings, but we actually didn't close down the support. So we were able to turn all of our programming into virtual experiences. And that's why we were able to ensure that none of our clients went without. And in addition, Matrix also works with basic needs. So we believe that giving food and giving clothing and those things are a civic duty that we all have to do. The real work comes in our case management with the other programs that we offer, but people can't learn if they're hungry. And so in COVID, we still did, in a safe way, our food distributions every other Tuesday. And during COVID, we were serving up to 600 families on a bi-weekly basis. So it actually, we end up serving more people in COVID than we typically serve on a yearly basis pre-COVID. And so what we work to do is just to make sure not only that we adapt, but people still found success. And so a lot of our clients made their downtime their prep time. They were stuck in the house. They really couldn't do much. So a lot of them said, well, why don't I go back and try to get, education? Why don't I do some things that I can do now that I have the focus of just being at home? And so we really kind of encourage our clients to take advantage of that downtime and seeing how we can create, some positivity in that environment that we had to live in for 2 years.
We're joined by Kerrie Mitchell, Vice President of Marketing and Development at Matrix Human Services, joining us on the Megacast, one of 291 nonprofits and charities supported by the Share Detroit platform. More information either at sharedetroit.org or by directly visiting their website at matrixhumanservices.org. And so, Kerrie, if people are in need of some of these services or many of these services, how do they typically get involved in these different programs and these different classes and initiatives that are provided through Matrix Human Services?
You know what? We are just a click away. You want to go to matrixhumanservices.org and you go to the programs tab, and it's separated between kids, youth, adults, children. You click on what works best for you, and then you just fill out a form and it goes right to our case managers and we get you signed up. It's just that easy. Or you can always call, and the number is on our website as well.
MatrixHumanServices.org is the website for getting in contact with them. MatrixHumanServices.org. Their main office at 1400 Woodbridge in Detroit. Their phone number, 313-962-5255. That's 313-962-5255. Kerrie, how important, you mentioned there's over 500 employees involved with Matrix Human Services. Volunteerism, I would imagine, for the scope of the programs and the initiatives that are put on by your organization and are maintained by your organization, that volunteerism also plays a key role. How critical is volunteerism and support from the community in providing these services through your organization?
Yeah, so volunteering, as you mentioned, is very critical to us. What we need support in at this moment in time is that with our youth development program and, people and students having to work, be at home and try to learn from home, a lot of parents are calling us because they need additional academic support, which is a lot like tutoring, just because some of the youth are starting to fall behind because of Zoom fatigue. And so what we've been doing is really actively trying to get with groups that can commit to a certain time frame, whether it's a month or whether it's a quarter, that can help us, provide tutoring to these children that are really, finding it really, really hard to be able to adapt to, what our new normal is. And so in our youth department, that is our number one phone call from parents who are looking and asking for additional support. And so we've been trying our best to make sure that we meet the needs. But in order for us to meet the needs at the best scale that we can, is that we definitely need people who have the capacity to be able to tutor, some youth for us. And I believe that is our biggest need right now for volunteers.
More information on matrixhumanservices.org. That's matrixhumanservices.org, or by visiting sharedetroit.org. Matrix Human Services, contact by phone, 313-962-5255. 313-962-5255. We're joined by Kerrie Mitchell, Vice President of Marketing and Development with Matrix Human Services, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. What are some other ways at this time that would be important or be most helpful to your organization for the community to help Matrix Human Services?
Yes, the most critical way is, and with all the programs that I talked about, with everything that we do, we don't charge a dime to any of our clients. It's not what we do. No one is able to give us any type of monetary, gift to help them. Our job is to make sure we provide the support and the structure, and we do that because we have donors and supporters. And so the best way that you can help us, in addition to volunteering, is to give. And you can definitely give on our website by going to matrixhumanservices.org. Click that Give tab and give from your heart. If you truly believe in what we do, we truly believe in what we do. We create a tremendous amount of impact for the city of Detroit. We work with each person, and it's not just like a one size fits all. We literally work with individuals and goal set and work to ensure that this person becomes self-sufficient. And we go back and we get our next person to do that same thing. And it's a system that has worked. It has proven success. And so we just want people to partner with us So even if, you give something small to you, it still will be big to us. So if you go to matrixhumanservices.org and click that Give tab, we can certainly put your dollars to good use.
We're joined by Kerrie Mitchell, Vice President of Marketing and Development at Matrix Human Services, a shared Detroit-supported charity and nonprofit, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on shareddetroit.org, where you can learn about Matrix Human Services and the 290 other charities and nonprofits supported by the Shared Detroit platform, or by visiting matrixhumanservices.org. Kerrie, just another minute or so before we'll have to say goodbye today. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to keep in mind about Matrix Human Services, or any other topics we haven't discussed?
Yes, anytime that you know of someone that is in need, feel free to give us a call or go to our website. We don't turn anyone away. And the great thing about Matrix is that even though we have programs that we do really, really well, we know of partners who do different things. And so we try to stay within our wheelhouse, and no nonprofit is a competitor to us. We truly believe that everyone can be a collaborator. So what we do is that if it comes to us and we know of another person or another organization that does that work really well, we will work with you with things that we provide, and then make sure that you get the support you need from somewhere else. And we collectively work to bring that individual together. And so I just always like to share that. It's like our resource center is very, very robust. So sometimes you may, just not know where to turn. And if you turn to Matrix, and if we have the answer, we make sure that we give it, and we provide you that level of detail and that structure and that commitment to making sure that you get to the next step in life.
Kerrie, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Share Detroit, for sharing this platform with me as well.
Absolutely. More information either on shareddetroit.org, or go directly to their website at matrixhumanservices.org if you're unable to access the internet, or are unable to have a device to access the internet with. They're also contactable by phone, 313-962-5255, 313-962-5255, matrixhumanservices.org. That is going to do it for this Tuesday edition of the Michigan Megacast and the Oakland County Megacast. I want to thank everybody that joined us on both hours of the show. The Michigan Megacast hour, Kerrie Mitchell, of course, the Vice President of Marketing and Development at Matrix Human Services, Carla Balo from the Center for Automotive Research, and Satrice Coleman Betts, the Executive Director of the St. Patrick's Senior Center, for joining us on the Michigan Megacast. And those that joined us on the Oakland County Megacast, Sally Wenzel from Earth West Bloomfield, as well as Deborah Slobin and Trista Maltby from Shoppe Too, located in Kegel Harbor. You can view all these interviews on demand on our website, as well as our full episode from today's edition of the program and every other episode that we've done in the past leading up to this program, all the way back to March of 2020, by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com, clicking on a Megacast link, or typing in civiccentertv.com/Megacast. There you'll also find links to every single one of our partnering community television and radio stations, as well as web outlets such as My Michigan TV, otherwise known as MyMy, at mymytv.com, where you can also learn more about where you can download their free smart TV and smartphone apps, take the Megacast home with you and on the road as well. civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Also highly encourage you to continue to go to our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Click on those links to the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, so you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about COVID-19. Even as case numbers continue to wane and it seems like we're starting to come out on the other side of this, you're going to want to keep informed in case things do change. And if they do change, that's the first place you're going to want to look. civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Don't go digging through all the weeds of the internet to try to find this information. You can go directly to reliable sources right there and find your top stories making headlines all across the Great Lakes State every day. Big thank you to our crew as well. Calvin Brown, our technical director, with me in the studio each and every day. Jared Clark, our Zoom producer at the office of My Michigan TV in Troy, Michigan. The king of television, Larry Nyland, our producer, and Maddie Mustian out at Master Control. Coming up next on My Michigan TV, it's Steve Leto Live, followed by Larry and Maddie Live at 1 p.m. We'll return tomorrow at 10 a.m.